Hey you guys, it's MJ from UNPLUG. How are you? So I want to talk about one of your comments asking about the higher photonic, I guess you could say like plasma waves that are coming through, and then how that is potentially affecting the Earth field or the Earth realm. And then more specifically, it's to do with the crystalline light body activation. It's all words, and it is reflecting back to us an alchemical, like, evolutionary process that's happening within the vehicle, within the instrument, the body of Christ. It's happening in our bodies. And this is what I talk about in the Fearless Life Guide as the emotional storm. Any empath really endeavoring in earnest their own evolution, it knows what I'm talking about. When you own triggers and then allow emotional energy waves to move through you, and then at the height of it, it's this very profound and deep and rather divine inner experience that is shape-shifting your vibration. It's up-leveling your vibration. Now, in holding space for the body to move that energy out, that's why we cry, we rage, we feel heat, we feel that intense heat and pressure from within the vessel, i.e. that's how we transform or transmute certain chemical compounds, right? That's how coal turns into diamonds with heat and pressure. So when we're holding space, i.e. we're just observing the body-mind shapeshift that density, on the other side of the storm, we often feel great calm and serenity. It's just that we sort of have to expand the awareness out of a very limited, linear context and start to, one, broaden our awareness of the stories we've been telling ourselves as humans on this planet Earth. There's like the 3D matrix, and then it just perpetually kind of expands out from there. The way we expand our consciousness field and our access to higher thought is ultimately via the depth of the emotional portal that we allow ourselves to sit in. And ultimately, detaching from the thought frequency when we're endeavoring emotional transformation is really important, because I observe it's easy for us to loop back, almost pull back certain energies in if we're reviewing them perpetually on the mental level. As in, we keep going back into blame and attack. That person did this. This is what happened. And I can observe that in my own reality. If I'm mentally gonna go over something, it's gonna trigger all of that emotion again. And then that's the discipline and or discernment or diligence that's required when we truly love ourselves and when we truly love our existence. It's like, well, then in a very basic way, I can choose to focus on this, or I can choose to focus on that. I can choose to be open to new manifestation and new reality, or I can choose to go back and go over this situation again. And ultimately, it is always a co-creative journey, and yet our ability to be detached in people, places, and circumstances is really important, because we're not here to dictate to one another how life should unfold. That is that soul's experience and that soul's call. I did a share about that, the soul's call versus fear's judgment. And there's a lot in my reality that is unraveling around family and relationships, and it continues to astound me how easily we deny the truth of our knowing to fit in to society's boxes of what is acceptable, i.e. it's our own fear of judgment. It's our own very deep and profound conflict at our own existence that perpetuates these conflicted aspects. And yet, people are so trapped in the mental and so in denial of the emotional that they just loop back the same projections over and over again. And this is our responsibility as the empath, the highly sensitive, or the intuitive. It's that if we're seeing those loops, it's up to us to break free from them. It's up to me to choose a different story and to choose a different relationship or a different circumstance. Hey there, my Skies 5D, thank you. And actually this share is really off of one of your comments about one of these topics, the crystalline light body activation. So this is this is great because I was kind of going off on one. Oh, the hot love vibrashe. And this is where it's like, and in my own experience where I can't verbalize it enough to somebody. Somebody can be projecting their shit onto you, and yet when you know your truth, you know your truth. And when you know that's not who you are, it's up to you to just kind of like walk away from that. Okay, so back to the alchemical, the divine alchemy of emotional storm, of allowing ourselves to really sit and breathe. Detaching from thought is super important because the mental capacity can loop back in negative emotion, versus the light of your awareness just allowing the emotional body to work itself out, to feel stuff, to be present. And this is the thing, it's always here now in the present moment that we're processing it, and or denying. So in that emotional wave, detaching from thought or just seeing, once you see the thought, in essence you're detached from it. You're not just going, rawr, I am the thinking and the emotions, I am that. You're going, whoa, whew, I'm feeling stuff. Oh yeah, look at those thoughts. They're blaming that person and they're blaming this situation and they're doing that. Wait, can I just be present with the field? And then sometimes there's waves that come up and then there's like, whoa, like these intense storms. And then that process, and even that is a process we can totally let go of at some point. But personally, as a kind of spiral dynamic atonement completion process, it's like that moment of presence in that intense emotional pain or field of awareness is the alchemy, is what activates the light body. Because all I can be fully honest and transparent about, it's only in endeavoring those emotional depths and owning them, my own betrayal, my own self-denial, my own corrupted, conflicted aspect. This person you see here now is the woman that I denied or spent the majority of my life denying. Oh, I'm not aware that we're all one. No, I'm not. I'm not aware of all of these intense spiritual, emotional aspects. No, I'm just going to try to fit into the society box. I'm going to try to work at a shop and just have a job and Each one of those cycles, I damn near killed myself. And then it was only in this healing, in this spirituality, in this endeavoring to go deeper and deeper. Yeah, right. It's only in going deeper and deeper into this divine intuitive awareness that everybody would tell me to shut up and everybody would deem me wrong and bad and how dare you and fuck you bitch and blah 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 blah. All of that, like, and then just kind of landing home and landing in the knowing of the truth of what's happening within me, because I am the creator of me, and so how could I not know the truth? And yet it's required a fair amount of unlearning and delayering and a lot of solitude and a lot of withdrawal and kind of deductionary reasoning. And this is where a lot of people flip it over on me and they're like, oh, you're too emotional. And I'm like, yeah, and I think too. I'm not just this like crazy emotional person. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm also thinking just like you. We're just thinking on a fucking different wavelength, which is why you're not meeting me And you're just projecting onto me what your unconscious doesn't want to own as your own, i.e. the emotional, crazy, wild lady. Whoa, you're so emotional and crazy. It's like, oh yeah, so you still think I'm completely separate from you, and you're just unconsciously projecting that bullshit onto me and then making me feel wrong and bad for it, rather than realizing that you're still in conflict or uncomfortable about the fact that you feel this stuff too, about the fact that you're in denial too, and or afraid. Most of it is born of fear. In fact, all of it, we could say, is born of fear, separation. It's the ultimate sin, is this kind of, this conflict, this disconnect, this I am not one with all that is, I am separate from it. And then you're like, ah. Of course, on a very primordial level, if we're in separation, we're in fear. They're like one and the same. They totally go together. Hi Karen. Oh, you guys, I love you. So crystalline. Now I talk about crystallization in the Fearless Life Guide. It's one of those like high vibration downloads. It's merging with the intuitive aspect, merging with the higher self. Then the atonement takes on this next level crystallization effect, where we crystallize the inner vision of the self. So the Christ consciousness within self is what crystallizes itself. Thus, many of us will have experienced a very powerful, and it's taken a few cycles round to really crystallize, but a powerful physical vessel transformation. So we actually see our bodies appear how we're manifesting them, and then we're like recognizing the truth of the knowing of how we manifest here, and then that extends it out, which is where I see some corrupted aspects in manifestation, where people are actually using external reality to still power and control, because they're still in disempowerment in their bodies. They're not owning the totality. They just want the money, or they want the control, or they want the power, but then they're still deflecting like, oh, but my body is still this weak little vessel. It's like, well, then you're choosing to not embody it in the fullness of who you are. And it made me smile. Seriously, dude, I had this most high vibration experience like 2 or 3 days ago, where it was like, first of all, a deep uncovering down there, like intensity. And then I was like, I had never felt so high before in my life, where I was just laughing hysterically at myself. But then you're saying about inner child, that's what it felt like. It felt like the most excited, happy kid ever, that I clearly had like forgotten she even existed. But then that's part of this whole next level of shares, is that I reached this high level awesome plateau, and then was suddenly turning, and it suddenly was back in these sort of past energies, and was like, wait a minute, this isn't really true to who I am anymore. And considering this hasn't been part of my reality for a while, I'm like, do I have to continue to blame myself, or can I just let this situation go? Can I just let the past go? And I think this is part of like the actually consecutive shares, is that we're in this like freedom break now. And I'll continue to permission you guys as you permission me. Let's go for it. Let's break free. Let's create the manifested reality that we're choosing and vibrating and desiring to see, which is love, harmony, you know, greater grace amongst one another, not denial, not shameful running away and projecting our bullshit onto one another, owning it. But, you know, you can't, if you've not been owning it all along, it's really hard to start pointing fingers and telling other people where they're not owning it, when you know you've been the one owning it all. And that's part of this freedom break, is suddenly going, ah, yes, that's the truth. I can only own it for myself. I can't own other people's pain bodies for them. I can't go into someone's mind and shine a light and be like, see, you're not being honest with yourself. Therefore, you're incapable of being honest with me. Yay! Exactly. Well, and it's so true, because I've been watching the clouds a lot more as well, and more aware of extending that conscious creatorship into like every field. Only because as the system continues to kind of flail, it will like, there will be a lot of different events and different sort of last ditch efforts, whether it's natural disasters, CERN and HARP and all of these different the more powerful kind of electromagnetic fear programming, all of that is like just spinning out more and more and more. And ultimately those are those last ditch efforts that are actually showing us that it's not rooted anymore, that the system, as it were, the perception of fear is not rooted here anymore. We've already built bridges. Many bridges have been built. Many people are breaking free and going for this freedom run now. And it's just a matter of us sitting in it and living it and breathing it and being it in the truth of our knowing, and then reflecting it back with a sense of lightness. And this is how I always like check myself. It's like those subtleties of like, I've never been somebody that's gonna go, actually that's not true. I have been somebody that's been very critical when I was in self-judgment and in self-criticism. I have been somebody that was incredibly sort of probably domineering and forceful, because I had so much insecurity and because I thought I had to prove myself. That was like the world. And like all of this healing and softening has just really come out of my own willingness to perpetually break it down and perpetually put my hands up and going, I'm the fuck up here. I'm the big bad fuck up. I'm the horrible human, da 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 da. And yet as the empath or whatever, you can only do that so long before suddenly you're like, wait a minute, I'm actually feeling pretty good. I'm integrating and owning and falling and breaking down and like seeing and owning all of my unconscious, and then things start to flip around and turn around. And it's like these final last little layers of like, wait a minute, like, why are you making me feel bad? Or why is this person doing this? And I've really honed in now on emotional abuse. It's profound. And many are in cycles of abuse on the emotional, mental level. Yet again, because systematically we're taught to deny the emotional field and supersede it with thought programming, but the thought programming is already corrupted and pretty low level. And so, hey, you Leaf, I know who you are, Leaf. And so, yeah, and so people don't even recognize that they're in cycles of abuse. And so they're like, shh, don't be so annoying, or don't be so emotional, or don't be da-da-da. But like the empath lid is about to fucking break. We literally can't bottle it anymore, right? Who's the person in the thumbnail of this video? I don't know. I'm not sure what you guys are seeing as far as, is it me? Is it my thumbnail going from Bali, perhaps? From Indonesia? So what am I talking about? I'm talking, keep me on the path, you guys. I'm talking about, the light activation crystalline body. Okay, so when we're talking about this stuff, this next level stuff, when it comes to photonic rays or plasma waves, some dude, oh, that's Sergio. So Sergio, I just used as like a model because he took a photo of his Alta Love t-shirt and it was quite cool, and it was like he had behind him one of those like carpets of chakra colors. So I just thought it was quite like a good picture to use as a model. He is a friend of mine though. He's not like some random model. He's like an actual friend that I met who bought an Alta Love t-shirt, posted it on social, and I was like, yoink, I'll use that for promo. I actually have wondered, I wonder if anyone will ever ask, like, so who's the random guy? Like, not my boyfriend. Sergio just got married, actually. So, mad props to Sergio, extending the love vibrashe. Okay, so yeah, light body, photonic. His social is Sergio, but I don't, I don't know his last name. I could look it up, Truth Kindness, if somehow you want to link in with Serge and his awesome escapades. He's all like into anthropology, actually. So photonic plasma waves. So this community, Aluna Ash community, various higher self light love community, we're bridging an aspect of our creative potential, which is activating an aspect of our beingness, which is very true. Overwhelmingly joyous. I get that as well. And here's another piece. I actually talk about this in the book, where a lot of us are having to work up the vibrational photonic light potentially activate. Yes, everything is potentially activating us all the time, because everything is a feedback loop from our own creative force field. The idea of us moving up a vibrational ladder is simply a collective agreement of moving from a darker to a lighter density level, which has to do with this. If we imagine that we're all made up of trillions of cells, which is photonic light waves, like photonic energy, all those trillions of cells, after years of darkness and divisive programming, and you're weak and I'm just a lowly death creep, jealousy and fear and all of that separation energy, that divisive, fearful energy, those are the energetic densities. So you can imagine that those cells are heavier. Like, really simple language, those cells are heavier programming via the lens of my own awareness, because there's a divisive aspect. So as I broaden my container to hold space for that alchemical process to happen, or that change, or that shift. And again, not everybody will resonate with what I talk about, because not everybody is looking via the emotional field necessarily, and unless maybe it is everybody, and who knows, maybe we'll just keep waking each other up to it. But how I understand manifestation and creation is that we have to be able to feel the fullness of who we are, because it's the fullness of who we are that's manifesting the fullness of the reality, not just our thoughts, right? The thoughts are a limited construct, hence the limited worldview of 3D separation. I think, therefore, that's a limited construct. We're not just thinking beings, we're thinking, feeling, creative beings, outputting frequencies, and then feedback looping it back to our vision. And then we have a co-creative world. We have this co-creative earth plane existence, which we're all like, hey guys, hey, we're here, we're creating something. So are we going to continue to create unlimited 3D perspective, i.e. a lower density level? And dimension is different than density. Density is like purely in the here now. Am I dense, or am I light and expanded? And it's us working our way up to being lighter and more expanded via us feeling into our own natural wave function and our signature frequency, which is just something we have to outwork from within. All of us have a life path which would show us pieces of, like, how do we unify? How is it that I'm meant to be here now? And being in the here now is really about just owning it all as the totality of what you've been creating so far, and then pulling in stuff that we want to discreate, stories, patterns, limitations about our creatorship. So for me personally, owning the fullness of the vessel, owning the integrity of the vessel, and shape-shifting it to how I desire was a big piece in unlocking the wisdom and the knowing about manifestation. Now that the body is sort of crystallizing, so my version of, like, my divine self is crystallizing, yeah, so then I can start to work on the external. That external reality can shapeshift and start to crystallize. Even the fact of me hanging out with New Paradigm, New Earth, Sasha Stone, and Thomas J. Brown, and those people manifesting New Earth Project via their New Paradigm, is a reflection back that more and more and more humans are agreeing. You know, it's agreeing with these deeper soul contracts. And I would actually go as far to say that the crystalline light body activation, this is just all part of New Paradigm language that describes ourselves in a more elevated way. Crystalline structure is more malleable to me than flesh and bone. I'm just flesh and bone and dead meat weight. And I'm just a robotic machine that needs to be programmed to serve this whatever. And then we're going, wait, those of us on the path and here connecting, it's like, wait, that sucks. Like, fuck. And then we're like, wait, could it be better? And then we're like going through all of this like intense shape shifting. So yes, crystalline body structure will help us navigate the subtle energies. So that I can totally reflect back as just the truth. So you lighten up. I've lightened up, and this 2018 year of completion, MoFlo lovers. 2018 was the actual like heart activation for me year. That to me, 2018 was for me the crystallizing of my new reality. Same. Online. It's like we're coming online. We're owning this collective agreement. Oh, right. So we activate crystalline. And again, it doesn't need to be like, I'm a light body now. It's purely gifts coming online. Yeah, it's purely about I've gone within. And think about it. Crying, alchemy, water. What are we mostly made up of? What is this whole kind of carbon holographic reality in as far as the juice of our existence? It's water, mofo lover. Moflo. It's water. So it's me reprogramming the crystalline structure of the water that I am, and then the cells of my being light up, and suddenly I'm going, whoa. Oh, and then there seems to be this process. One could call it the completion process, aka Teal Swan. One could call it the atonement, aka Christianity and A Course in Miracles. Whatever y'all want to call the word, it would appear that we have a bit of a process, i.e. building a bridge from the density level of 3D matrix, corrupted, distorted, disempowered enslavement reality projection, and then moving us into 3, 4D, 5D, 6, moving us into this higher, more crystallized realm, which is literally just the crystals, the cells that make me up, become more light-filled, become more pretty, become more harmonious, become more radiant, rather than this reflection back of this dense, heavy, tired, sick, and lowly being. And yet the rising up is from within the self. Exactly. And well, we all do. We just forget because we're so fixated on the limitation, or not, until we start to merge. I call it living intuition. You begin to merge with the intuition, and then you're merging with the totality of your spatial field, which is you projecting outward constantly. And oh yeah, so the atonement process or what did I say? The completion process is really just us facing all of our unconscious, facing all of our disempowered parts. And in my experience, it's in me facing and owning my disempowered parts. That's where the emotional storm takes place, from within my own, oh God, noticing all of my distorted projections. All guys are like this, or my dad never loved me, whatever it might be. Although you love it, you hold it, you embrace it with the totality of your being. And then that love that you lean into, that love that you merge with, that is what heals it all. That is what you go, oh my God, I see what I've been doing. I feel the depth of my denial. I feel the depth of my soul's betrayal to itself. And now I'm ready to own it all and unify it all. And then that's when the tidal turns really start to make manifest. That's when, like, for real, me dealing and owning the deepest darkness and the most fear and pain and losing everything I feared most to lose and blah, blah, blah. All of that, off the back of it, all y'all started to appear more. You all came into my reality. The beings that I knew would resonate in a more tangible, visceral, and I mean visceral as in like it's a harmonious reflection, not some weird corrupted where I'm constantly feeling like I'm having to tread water or backtrack or walk on eggshells or fit into someone else's world. I'm suddenly other sovereign beings endeavoring their conscious creatorship are showing up, and the exchange, clarity, harmony is exactly how I knew it would always feel. And then the other I can just be done with. The other I can just be like, thank you for the lessons. Thank you for the awareness building, because it always is awareness building. And that's the truth of maybe where other people, when they're still in victimhood consciousness, they don't recognize that because they're too busy protecting their victimhood, right? They're too busy protecting their victimhood, which is in a subtle way an attack on an empowered being. It's why when we're in our victimhood, we like to sit around and gossip about people we know nothing about. thank you. Thank you for being here. Again, like most of all, actually, I think a lot of you get it. That's why you're here. It's like, it's been a dark and lonely road. There's been a lot of like aloneness and like inner working it out and being dumped on a lot and being ridiculed and laughed at and like alienated and like the lonely road of like the introvert empath, right? And then hence like this like little inner intuitive nudging of like, go online, like start sharing your process. Some people might res with it. And it's more about when I'm high vibe in myself, like in my life, like I might be driving around, I might be getting a bit stoned, I might be doing something just like for my own self-care rituals, and then I'll get into this like inner like divine, and this is what's happened to me since my awakening, is that I've always had this sort of inner channel that is just so beautiful and so blissful, and then but for whatever reason along the way when I share it to people in the 3D, they're like, who do you think you, what, Molly, what are you talking about? And just been shunned and shunned and shunned until I completely withdrew. And like for years, like pretty much since 2011, 2012, like I never go out. I don't, like I'm more and more reclusive, and yet the online practicing of sharing all of this stuff is what's brought this online community, which was all a prophetic message on the life path from 2015. Randomly somebody came into my reality and was like, you have to teach online, you have to share online. And this is me. I started in 2012 breaking through all of that. Hey Aurora, right? And now we're breaking through all that, and it's because this is the next wave as well, as far as there's actually a lot of really great teachings, but they're still totally hooked into old paradigm, if that makes sense. Absolutely. It's so valuable. I love it. That's why I show up every day. This is like my favorite time of day. I wake up, make myself beautiful for you guys, and then share. And I'm sharing less on Facebook because I'm not really resonating with that platform. I might even one day, we might end up sharing on All to Love or something. Hello, 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 Aurora Rain. I just appreciate you guys showing up here and being here and like reflecting back that you dig on me and what I share, because in my 3D reality, it's not, I might feel really happy and shiny to you guys, but in my 3D reality, there seems like there's still some outworking as far as old corrupted stories around my persecution and like being totally shunned by the world. Yes, Silver Serpent! I've been telepathically reaching out to you, my friend. Wondering where you are, that's all. I'm just like feeling you, being like, where is she gone? Where is some videos? I want some more videos from Silver Serpents. Check out Silver Serpents, love these stuff as well. Yeah, so I just went on a massive, see, you guys get me all excited about everything, because it reminds me I'm not alone. We're not alone in doing all this depth of work. And especially because like when a law of attraction stuff came out, I was really into it, but then I was like, something's still not right with all this stuff. Even in a lot of spiritual communities, something's still not right. See, the feeling. Telepathy. Some of you guys are already aware of this, but like we're definitely communicating telepathically now, and it's very exciting, especially when reflections come back and you turn up to reflect it back. You're like, yeah. I mean, plus there's social media, so there's different links on social media that trigger the response, but we're all here for one another. Okay, so like, okay, back to just the topic share. Good. Oh yes, my friend, I feel you. These last few days of December into the new year, oh man, it's been, hey, we're gonna get our own land, Aurora. I believe it. I believe it. We're gonna get land to create on and to make manifest these new worlds, right? Oh, good. Yes. Yes, it's so good to see one another, isn't it? We were talking about the kind of science of the crystalline light body activation, right? And how it really is the ownership of the majority of the beingness that we are is light particles, cells that are vibrating and in a wave function, which is unique to your signature frequency, which is all about like how you came in here, how you came to make manifest, which is you could draw it back, you could link it back into your total birth point in this infinite voidal reality, in a multi-universal reality, which is how we start to activate and unlock a broader memory scape of maybe different incarnations in different galaxies, maybe different incarnations in different star systems, maybe various incarnations here on this planet, right? And then once we begin to start to unify that into the here now presence, we become a lighter activated I'm hearing like a membrane almost, like all of the cells suddenly, like, literally become lighter just by sitting with an emotional storm and owning it as my own totality in the storming process, i.e. like the crying and the heat, all of these like emotional threads. That in and of itself is an enlightening process. So me shining light on all of the darkness, fear, shame, hatred, resentment, jealousy, blah, 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 anything born of division. So me being present with it, shining light onto it, is literally enlightening those cells and helping them to shed the shit of the past. It doesn't matter if we call it past or future or present, because if we're feeling it in the here now, we're feeling it in the here now. And that could be a really simple place to close, because I'm aware that, like, that's what most people deny. They just try to pick apart or criticize or put out there what they're experiencing in the here now. And it's us and our ability to be more present with our feelings and get to know what those feelings are. And let's be honest, who can do that? Only you, my friends. For some reason, my mind's branching off into spirituality simplified, mainly because I have a hell of a lot of editing to do. The editing is taking place, and for some of you, it may or may not be relevant, but there's a good section about cosmic origins, and I just did an interview with a lady who kind of unlocked mine, and then she's done an interview about how to kind of trace it back and remember all of yours as well. It was, oh yes, oh fantastic. My first crystalline activation meditation yesterday. Beautiful. And this is happening when we process, own, and transform storms, and in our meditations, of course. When I lie in relaxation as well a lot, and I often have I'm still sitting with that. I don't see, to me, again, that's a really limited, like, is it thoughts that create emotion or emotion that create thought? And like, you can't divide it. You can't. There is thought and emotion on a certain frequency. That's it. And then you can either be present with, like, oh, look at how shit I feel. Why? Well, there's thoughts there that are vibing on this frequency. They're one in the same. It is one totality, one creative field. Thought, emotion, spirit, and the totality of your reality. As soon as we start being like, is it the thought? There we go. There's the mental capacity dividing us up. There's the mental capacity staying looped in a conflicted aspect of self. And the conflicted aspect of self can only be uprooted via sitting with more and more of our emotional field. Sitting with more and more of our emotional field. Because where did the higher thought form come from? From a deeper, more expanded sense of self. Not from a sense of self that's trying to pick it all apart and take it all apart and trying to figure it all out. Why? How can we figure it all out there when we've already come to realize we are that? It's fucked up, and it's totally paradoxical, and yet it's more of an enjoyable wild ride and miraculous manifestation ride if we just let go of trying to figure it out and be the presence field that you are. Be the totality that you are. Feel it, breathe it, and then cut out the bullshit. when the intuition is guiding you to do so, cut out the stuff that doesn't serve. So yeah, accessing cosmic origin is kind of huge, because then it starts to make sense of who we are in a much more total way. And then and then basically I'm upselling the Spirituality Simplified course. So if you guys want to buy it, you can pre-order it. Your orders will spur me on and then bring in more. I'm gonna start uploading it as soon as I finish the edit. Where do thoughts come from? You know, I'm pretty sure they come from where everything comes from, which is just the source of all of creation, which is even though we think of creation, like la, love, and light, my deeper sense of reality is like, oh, but creation is also this deep, dark, infinite, mysterious void, which is so deep and dark that like, most of us just want to run away from it. Are thoughts alive? Yeah, they're as alive as we are. And that is actually a true, like a fairly relevant question when it comes, because we put all of our kind of priority or focus on external reality being reality, but the thoughts that we're thinking are fully functioning, alive realities as well. And that's that deeper aspect of detachment. We can detach from the external circumstances, but then we have to learn how to detach from our own emotions and our own thoughts. Because there's all active vibration. That's the thing about present moments. If you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. If you're feeling it, you're feeling it. And you're feeling it in the here and now. You gotta own it in the here and now presence. Why are we feeling it now? Because there's a whole bunch of fucking backlog that most of us have been programmed to deny, and just stay in these shitty low-level patterns. And I just have such love. And that's the weirdest bit of all of this crazy journey, has just been like, one, me having so much love and not understanding why there's so much disparity. Two, realizing if I stand any chance of harmonizing anything out there, I first have to harmonize it from within myself. Oh shit, really, fuck. Ugh! And then really this whole journey of self-love has just been continual ring of fire after ring of fire after ring, or thou shalt not pass. I don't, one of those gates or whatever that you have to, like, a big initiations or divinations or whatever. After one, after the other, after other, of like being like, are you gonna continue to feel amazing, or are you gonna go back to that? And I'm like, well, I think I should just try to feel more amazing. And I do continue to feel more amazing. But it's not to say that there's not polarity and that there's like, one of you was going into empath introvert mode. That's the polarity, and it's on a daily basis, y'all. Like, I might be like, woohoo, 5 in the morning, and then 10 in the morning be like, I need to have a nap. I need to just bow out and watch some Netflix for a while and like just lie here. And while I'm lying here, there might be moments where I'm like going for no reason whatsoever, other than the fact that some wave of emotion is coming through me. And yet I can honestly say that I am happier than ever before, and I feel more empowered than ever before. I just am fully owning the craziness of existence itself, and I'm not afraid, and I don't want to run away from my own existence. And in a weird kind of simplistic way, but simple's good, right? In a weird simplistic way, we could say that all of the world's problems, like every single problem that we could potentially see out there, is just the human consciousness field running away from the fear of its own existence, or lack thereof, right? All of these shitty problems are all humans just running away from the fear of death. But why is the fear of death so fucked up? Because we don't die. This is the whole game is just blown wide open. We are eternal beings, whether we fucking like it or not. Straight up, you guys. Once we unify into our eternity self, then it all starts to make a little bit more sense. Then you can start to see everybody's pain body running away from their own fear of death. Because it's all fucked up, it's all false, it's corrupted, it's not true. Once we can unify into the truth of our eternity self, then we can start outworking all of our false assumptions, all of our false beliefs, all of our fears, all of our judgments, Moflo! and become one. Become one with the field. And so right now I'm just like hella excited, yo, because you guys have appeared. And I'm like, what else is gonna appear? Well, and then I know, like, there's cool stuff happening on the horizon. You guys can come to France and we can go paragliding in the French Alps and do yoga together. And we can just keep shining and supporting each other here on this platform. And finding new and innovative ways of shining more light and being more honest and being more authentic and true, and committing to that and feeling a commitment to that as well. I'm just excited and thankful for you guys, that's all. What's happening right now, my friend, this is what's, pardon me, yeah. This is what's expanding. We're expanding our awareness, and that's why it's happening, because it's happening for more and more and more minds. We're collapsing timelines. It's just, the polarity of that is just that we are living more in the present. We're living more in the present, and thus in this presence field, we're more focused on what it is that we're projecting in this new, from this 0 point, right? From this 0 point reality. So my phone has just flagged me twice now because it's running low on battery. So I would say that's probably my time to go. Thank you guys so much for joining me here. Like, I could just say it over and over again, but the words can't quite like express the overflow of love that I feel. And I think that you guys get that because some of you res with the kind of loneliness path of like going within to do all this and then emerging just like as a crapshoot, being like, I think maybe some people might understand what I'm talking about. And then you're all turning up to be like, yes, I do. I feel it. I sense it. I see it. And like, all of us have a function. All of us in our alignment flow have a purpose in birthing and projecting out the new hologram of new paradigm, new earth, right? It comes from within this awakened state of being, which is this portal that we're in here now, right? So let's keep encouraging one another, supporting one another in whatever way we can. Again, if you guys want to reach out and have actual time, FaceTime avec moi for some intuitive guidance, some loving guidance regarding the work that you're doing, feel free. I appreciate it, and y'all appreciate it, and let's just keep that all that good flow going. You guys, I love you so much. Have a gorgeous, gorgeous day. I'm gonna share more, but I've got to close it there. My phone's just gonna die anyway. So blessings to you guys. Have a great day. I love the support. You shine back and shine for one another. It is a beautiful community. It really is. Love you loads. All to love. Om, peace, peace, peace. Namaste, mo flow lovers.